And I think we're ready to welcome our first guest, who is Lalia Rach. Lalia? There you
Hello.
go. Lalia, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Diane. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I also want to thank you for organizing and delivering this wonderful series of virtual learning experiences. It's just the right idea for a challenging time.
Thank you.
Diane, about 6 weeks ago, you and I were talking about the changes we're all confronting in our professional lives due to the COVID crisis. Overnight, we had all been thrown way out of our comfort zone, and now we are just beginning the arduous process of reopening businesses across the world. So this is the right time to begin talking and thinking about what mindset will be needed to succeed as business begins moving forward. I see this as an era of continuous change, and businesses and professionals that are capable of adapting and evolving to this new reality will succeed. So I think if there was ever a time to set that one-size-fits-all mentality to the side, this is it. That's not to say that the concept of universal standards or protocols will not exist, but within those guidelines will be the need for constant refinement and for cultural difference. And just let me give you one example, Diane. It's a small example, but in a way, well, not in a way, it is the most important example today, May 19th, 2020. Making cleanliness and safety visible, tangible, is now a central aspect of adapting to our needs, the needs of our guests. It is why we are seeing companies, large and small, publishing their safety and health programs, providing step-by-step in some cases. So going forward, transparency is the name of the game. The more clients can see, smell, and hear the measures being taken by any business to keep them safe is vital. For the time being, there's no such thing as too much detail. So clients expect messages and visible cues during the visit, and they should reflect those universal standards of safety, as we said. But here's for me what really matters. Businesses and professionals have to pay attention to how quickly we will move beyond the initial changes, challenges, and concerns. How quickly, as clients, we will get comfortable with what this reality is. And we will get used to these challenges. We already have. We did just after 9/11, but that doesn't mean we won't still worry. So it's just, this is one of our methods of adapting, and businesses must be prepared to move as our needs change.
Can I just interrupt you 1 minute, because I know where you come from, and just for everyone who's on the line right now, is you're a consultant. You have consulted at the top, you consult at the top level. This is what you're talking about is for all business.
Oh, yes.
You know, we might have a niche and experience with hospitality, but even hospitality affects all business. Everyone has meetings, events, hotels, air, all this. So this is across the board what you're talking about.
Well, I think there is, to me, knowing what your client needs and wants in the time is what matters. So I don't care if your client is on your airplane. I don't care if your client is coming to your conference or event. I don't care if your client is coming to your restaurant.
Right.
There is a similarity in recognizing that change happens. We get used to things.
Right.
Let me give you an example, Diane. Do you realize there are millions of people today existing who never knew an airport experience without, in America, what we call the TSA screening? It just is for them. And so how quickly are we going to move to the next level of this change is what matters. And yes, we should pay attention to history. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, well, history shows us. Yes, it does. But you know what history really shows us? Don't get stuck in the past. And that's, our past is going to happen quickly as we move through the reopening. So let me give you another example, Diane. 8 weeks ago, if I had said to you, let's have a virtual cocktail party, you would have said, really?
Right.
And yet, think about how important that virtual cocktail party has become. We are able to see family and friends. But at the heart of all of it, so when we're talking about travel, at the heart of all of it, none of us can wait to be in person at that cocktail, not be virtual. And so I don't care what your business is, in hospitality, in event management, in tourism, be ready to change. Know that we as humans, we want to actively engage and experience life. And while we're not going to let go of some of this virtual reality, I, with many people right now, are what is known as half dressed. Professionally, my top is dressed. What I'm wearing below the desk is very, very casual.
Right.
And that is lovely, and it's a change we all like. But we will want to get back into the full dress mode. And so I encourage everyone to recognize how change affects us personally. And so as you, as a leader of your business or of your area, as you move through this change, don't think that everyone changes like you. They don't. What may not bother you may be the biggest concern for your employees or your colleagues or your partners. And so I have suggestions of how you can evolve and adapt to this change. And my first suggestion is, when faced with indecision, ask yourself, does it really matter? It's a very simple question. Because too often we put things in our way that take our energy and our time when it doesn't really matter. So for an example, I will ask myself about my business, something that I'm so concerned with. I'll say, will it matter in 10 minutes? Will it matter in 10 hours? And will it matter in 10 days? Now, as we move through this, my timeline will become longer on that question. But when I see how much time I'm spending on something, the first thing I ask myself, will it matter? And I put it into context. The second thing I suggest to everybody as you're trying to adapt to all of this change is figure out how risk adverse you are. You need to know not only yourself as a professional, but also your organization. So for an example, do you actively strive to avoid failure? I have clients who tell me, I don't want to fail. And I'm like, really? I mean, frankly, that's very sad to me, because if you don't fail, how do you learn? If you don't fail, how do you innovate? And I am not suggesting failing for failing's sake. I'm saying, think about how much risk is a part of your cultural DNA, because if you are risk adverse, you are not able to adapt in time. You are always lagging, you are always following, and you are never bringing your client what they actually need.
You know, it's interesting, Layla,
Yeah.
when I was working with one of the major, let's just say one of the major tech universities, they actually wanted you to make mistakes.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, their attitude was, let's do as many things wrong as we can, because doing things wrong, and I don't even like that word, trying things that maybe don't work with the objective we need to meet, force us to think of something that we need to work around. So
And with that, you have to have a process. You have to review what's gone wrong. You have to understand how you're going to correct that. But what you're not doing is punishing anyone. What you're not doing is cutting off that innovation. And that's where you'll get full discussion. And I also urge you all to provide suggestions and ideas to your clients and your partners. They need to, if you've had an experience with another partner that you really think was magnificent, share it with them. Put together your thoughts on a brief email and remind them you're willing to talk about it. But in this day and age of business not being there for many of us, we have to find ways to remind our partners how valuable we are. So I urge you to do this. I urge you to spend time with understanding how your top clients are changing in their workplace. What is their reality? And I would check back with them quite frequently, because in these first few weeks of the reopening, some things are going to change very rapidly and other things are going to lag. It's like demand. We're going to see demand in certain parts of this country. We're going to see no demand in some urban areas at all. We're going to see the drive market flourish. And I believe we're going to see the direct flight market under 3 hours grow. You may see there are people who will wait. But what is your message to them if they are part of your clientele? How are you helping them adjust to the change and understand the changes you're making? So my last point I would make before, Diane, if you have any questions, I'll turn to that.
I have a couple.
But the last question I'm going to make, or point I'm going to make about change is, do you know what? Busy is no longer going to be a badge of honor. You know, pre-COVID, 99% of us, when we were asked in work how we were, we would just say, we're busy. And that was supposed to be a wonderfully great thing. And now we expect a real answer to that question. How are you? Not just fine, but I'm too busy. There has to be a different level of engagement you have with your clients. And I urge you, the key to engaging partners or clients is asking good questions and then really listening to their answers.
Yeah, no, that's a very, that one is a good one. I mean,
well, thanks.
Well, thank you, Layla. Not that I expected.
I'm glad that one.
Like, oh, she got 1 out of 4 right. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. No, I really like all of them, but no, that's very interesting perspective, because we've given ourselves permission through this all to learn how to take a walk and how to do all the things that we're missing beforehand. And of course, that's a whole. We're going to have you back for the wellness in a couple months here. But the thing is that it's a different kind of perspective, isn't it? Without making excuses. That's what I take from it. It's very interesting.
See, when we are faced with change, Diane, most of us, I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't. I should say all of us. We do have fear. Now, the level of fear we have is very different. But what we do is we go back to, oh yeah, we tried that. Or, oh yeah, nah, that didn't work here. Or she doesn't know my reality. I hear that a lot. You're right, I really don't know your reality, but I can imagine the context in which you push yourself into a box of non-change. And what I'm saying is, if you do that, if you revert to that kind of thinking and you don't think differently, you will not be successful going forward, because it is different.
It is a mindset. Let me ask you we have couple questions here I'd like to share with you too. And the thing too that, Layla, what you're bringing out is there's no one size does not fit all in this recovery process. And more than ever, from a business point of view, we have to know who our people are, and that I'm sure Stephanie is going to enlighten us with in a few minutes. But let me ask you this: you provided common sense ideas, right, to adapting to the post-COVID world with what you've shared today. how are you adapting as a consultant? And what are are there any similarities in what you're sharing with all of your clients?
Well, the first thing I can tell you is how I'm adapting as a consultant is I was always in person. So I do keynotes, I do workshops, I do executive coaching in person.
Right.
Now going forward, I'm going to be a hybrid. I never thought I would say that. Did I coach on the phone? Yeah, periodically. Absolutely. But I felt I was an in-person person. And now I'm going to be a hybrid consultant. I'm going to deliver in person. I'm going to deliver via the phone, and I'm also going to deliver via virtual. I'm going to provide workshops for leadership. I'm going to provide workshops on change. Those workshops will be delivered to companies if they purchase the package, but they will also be available to individuals. And so it is something I, frankly, Diane, never imagined.
No.
But it is something I am now so excited about. I can't tell you. And did I struggle? Oh, yes. In fact, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see an article I did that I took a staycation in order to chill about a month ago.
Yes,
because
I
I was going round and round. And what I've now found is I have found my way.
Right. And I think that is good. Well, welcome home. It's like the yellow brick road. We all find our way home. But you know, the one quick question before I bring Stephanie on, you believe the ability to adapt is to evolve, and to evolve is, like you said, if you're not open to change, then you're going to be left behind. Is evolving is vital to success. What's your last words for all of us, your words of advice to anyone participating who finds themselves stuck?
Think differently. And I know that sounds so simple, but it's not. We have really programmed ourselves to see what we want to see. And I'm saying to you, step back, get a different perspective, wear different color clothes, take a different walk in the morning since we're not driving to work. Ask different questions. Think about people who bug you. And think, why do they bug you? So the point of it is you have got to step out of your norm. Don't make assumptions, ask questions. Listen deeply. Think about what is being said. You have to be brave enough to consider that which you are not comfortable with.
That is true. That is true. It's like then Ben, just for the sake of time too, and I want to come back when Stephanie finishes, is because Brian is here sharing that innovation techniques. But it is true. Getting out of your comfort zone is sometimes the place that leads you to your next.
Look at what you've done.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I'm working on it anyway. Thank you, Layla. Thank you so much, Layla.